Okay, so we're back over at the drill press and ready to do the edge sanding to clean up the perimeter of the guitar here. And to do that, I've got one drum loaded up. I've got 3 drums that I use, different sizes. And the cool thing about these drums is that they're inflatable, so they're squishy. And that allows for it to really have a little bit more surface area and contact with the wood. A hard drum really will only contact the wood at a certain point tangentially to the workpiece. And depending upon the diameter of the piece, that contact point gets smaller and smaller, and it tends to not really want to make things even. You end up with a lot of waves and dings, and it's just not very good. Whereas with a drum sander, it flattens, and it's not so much of a tangent anymore. It's much more flat. And then when you're in the curves, obviously it helps as well. So I've got the big one that will go around most of the guitar, and then we've got a little one that'll get in there, and then we've got this really small one too, in case we need to do a little bit of touch up in a tight corner. All right, so that's pretty much, the story with that. It shouldn't take much sanding to really bring this to its final shape, ready for a round over. So I guess we just go at it. So here we go. We could sort of check the progress as we're going into the light. And, this is the first edge sand that you're going to do. And really the goal is to just knock out any big imperfections that the guide on the router bit for roundover might follow. Because obviously once you round it over, there's a lot more hand sanding that goes in. A little bit of it on the drum, a lot of it with a rubber pad and some sheets of paper. So this is really just, to make sure that there's no major imperfections. And I'm sure a lot of the woodworkers out here will notice there's a little bit of chatter. And they'll probably be wanting to tell me why. And obviously it's that a drill press is never meant for lateral pressure. So you end up messing up the spindle a little bit and you get what's called a run out, which is that it's not exactly even anymore. And whatever's in it's going to wobble a little bit. But this particular drill press is really very old, and if I need to do precise work, I've got another one. So this one just suffices for doing as a workhorse. So we're getting pretty close. Got a little bit here. And if you want it to get a little bit flatter, you can take some air out of these, and it'll allow you to press further into the drum and get an even flatter contact point. And I'm just using, I think it's 100 grit. Now when you're feeding it in there, you kind of want to feather it in. So you don't just jam it in at first. You kind of go light and then dig, so you don't end up with any kind of lumps. And when you release, the same way. So I think maybe a little bit more here. I think we're good there. I think now it's time to change out to the medium drum. And get into the arm contours. I'm going to raise up the table a little bit because it's a shorter drum. And you kind of want to be in the middle of the drum. See how that looks. I'm going to lower it a little bit. We're kind of biased towards the top. Yeah, I think that's good right there. Lock the table back in. Turn it on and get inside the contours. Oh yeah, it's dead smooth in there now. I think that looks really good. Well, I think that about does it. So I think we're done here. The next step is going to be to do the round over. And for that we have our bit right here, which is pretty close to to what was on my guitar. So we're going to leave it here, and we're going to set up the router table again, move out the pin router and clean up a little bit. So I'll see you a little later.